There's this new artificial intelligence that just came out and everyone has been talking about it. It's called ChatGPT. So I did something a little different. I asked ChatGPT to give me the list of top questions that people ask about being a digital nomad. And it's quite interesting what ChatGPT came up with. Now let's go through these questions together and I'll answer them one after the other. Okay, let's get into it. Question 1. How do you make money as a digital nomad? Well, quite simply, I'm a freelance marketing strategist. I work with clients and I work with agencies where I go into that agency and I absorb some of their clients as my client. I run my own business. I have a registered business in the United States, and that is how I make money. I have up to 3, 4, sometimes 5 clients at a time, and that is how I make money. I also make YouTube videos where I'm not making much from that right now, but it's also part of it. So that's how I make money as a digital nomad. I used to work full-time in the United States in sales, and I no longer do that, so I travel full-time. So that's how I make money. Question 2. So how do you stay organized and manage your work while constantly traveling? Well, I am not constantly traveling. Let's start with that. I tend to be in one place for long periods of time, sometimes a month to 2 months, and that allows me to really focus on work and just do things as if I was back home. So that way I can have a routine, I can cook my own meals, I can work out, and I can just have a normal life while still enjoying the benefits of travel. So the third question, how do you find and book accommodations while on the move? Well, I talked about this in my recent video, how I book accommodation long-term on Airbnb while saving so much money. If you want to go watch it, go watch that. But I use Airbnb and I book for at least 1 month, so that way I get all of the discounts that Airbnb offers. Sometimes it goes up to 40% of the accommodation, and that's how you save money while traveling, while also getting the best from wherever it is that you're staying in. Question 4. How do you stay connected and access the internet while traveling? Good question. As someone who works remotely, I need internet to do my work. I need internet to get on calls with clients, to get on team calls. And to do that, I always carry 2 phones. So this is my main phone, my iPhone, where I do most of my on-the-go work, and this is another phone. It's a blue phone, Bold Like Us. It's a generic phone, I would say, but it's really good. This phone has a battery life of about 4 to 5 days, and I can just swap out the SIM cards wherever I'm at, and it works pretty much everywhere, only in the United States. That's the one thing that I don't understand about the United States. The SIM cards will not just work with this phone, but this phone works perfectly, works in South America, works in Europe, works everywhere. So I bought it for I think $60 and it works fine. Of course, when I'm in an apartment, I always make sure the internet is great. I ask the host if the internet is good, and if it's good, I'm good to go. So that's how I stay connected. Next question, how do you maintain relationships and a social life while constantly on the move? It is not the easiest, especially on the relationship aspect. You cannot truly have a real relationship, or at least a lasting one, unless you are with someone who also has the same aspirations to travel. And I have always been very intentional about not getting into any relationships, because the last thing you want to do is to break someone's heart, and people tend to not understand that, especially when you are involved with females. But I'm always very upfront about my intentions when I do get involved, about not being stable in a place, and it doesn't always end well, I would say that. But on the social side, social life, I always try to make friends locally anywhere I go, and try to involve myself as much as I can in social activities and try to meet other nomads as well. That's how I try to balance it. I do not have a relationship right now. I haven't had one in over a year, almost going on 2 years at this point. But I'm happy regardless, because I enjoy what I'm doing right now, at least at this phase of my life. Next question, how do you handle issues such as health insurance, taxes, and visas while living a nomadic lifestyle? Great question, GPT. Health insurance, I talk about this all the time. I have an health insurance that I use. It's called Safety Wing. In fact, I have 2 health insurances. I get one for Safety Wing, and I also get another one from Revolut. I have the advanced membership. I pay $9 a month, and I also use the card as well. It's a membership plan. Of course, you can use the free option. The best one that I always recommend is Safety Wing for anyone who wants to travel anywhere in the world. That meets pretty much all of the criteria to get into any country at this point in time. I have a link in the description if you want to check out Safety Wing. It's an affiliate link, gives you all the benefits of health insurance. You can always sign up on a month-to-month basis. You don't have to get locked into a contract, and also it's very affordable at about $40 a month, so you can opt out anytime you want. Also check out the other links as well in the description. And taxes, of course, I'm a US resident. I pay taxes in the United States, federal taxes. I always have to receive visas because I'm not a US citizen yet. I'm a Nigerian citizen, and with my passport I'm always having to look into visa visas or going to countries that don't require me to have a visa. And that's one of the biggest drawbacks of this lifestyle, at least for me, because you always have to constantly think about that. And sometimes you have to pay money to get visas, and to get into places is not always the easiest. If you don't have a strong passport, you're gonna have to think about those things as well. So think about that. Next question. How do you handle the logistical challenges of traveling with your belongings and possessions? Well, for me, that's the easiest thing ever. And believe me when I say that all of my things, everything I own in this world, at least that I travel with, fits in one luggage and a backpack. And that takes away the hassle of trying to check in and check out a lot of bags. Of course, I do check in a bag every time because I can't possibly fit in everything I need into a carry-on bag. That's not just gonna work with my cameras, my laptop, and everything that I have. So I do have one luggage, one backpack, and everything I have fits in that, or at least I try to make it fit in it. So that's the logistical challenge that I have. It's not a lot at all, but a lot of people travel with backpacks, and that's okay. But I am not a backpacker, so I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon. How do you deal with language barriers and cultural differences while traveling to different countries? Well, that's one of the biggest challenges that I have, especially with these countries that I go to. Unless I want to be in a place for at least 1 year, I don't see the benefit of learning the language in that moment in time. I'm usually in a place from 2 to 3 months. If I want to learn any language, it's going to be Spanish, because I feel like I'm still going to be spending more time in Latin America in the near future. So it's a lot of challenge, especially when you're in countries like the Balkans where English is not widely spoken. So you have to either rely on someone to translate for you, or you just hope that someone where you're going can speak English. So it's quite a challenge, especially if you're going to places where English is not widely spoken. And how do you balance work and travel while on the road? So like I said earlier, I am always traveling long term. I spend at least 2 to 3 months in a place, and that allows me to really focus on the things I want to focus on. I get the benefits of travel, and also while having a routine, like a proper routine, as if I were home. So work, I just wake up in the morning just like anyone. I work out, have my bath, do all my morning routines, and come to this desk. I do my work, do my client calls, my team meetings, and I also record YouTube videos, and that's how I balance it. But the most important thing is that if you're going to be traveling long term, I always recommend traveling slowly, because that's the best way to go about it, I believe, because you have a routine. Travel can burn you out because it's a lot of things to think about, a lot of logistics, a lot of planning to do. So by traveling long term, you're giving yourself the best chance to be able to do this at least long term. And finally, how do you handle the emotional and psychological challenges of living a nomadic lifestyle? That's a loaded question. I'm going to try to answer to the best of my ability. Emotional and psychological challenges. It's quite a challenge emotionally. Some days you feel like you're so disconnected from the world, and some days you feel like you're living your best life. So it's like two different sides of the spectrum. Some days you're here, and some days like you're right here. That can be quite challenging. And how you deal with that is to just wake up every morning and just appreciate what you have, because a lot of people want to be able to do this, want to have the freedom to even exist. And knowing that, I just am grateful for the opportunity that I have to be able to do this. And I think being grateful and being thankful for whatever I have in the moment is how I deal with it. I don't wallow in self-pity if something isn't going right. I just try to deal with it the best I can, and I always trust that things are going to fix itself. Things are going to be okay as long as I wake up every morning with a positive mindset and I put in my best, because that's all I can do. So that's how I deal with it. Also, I try to keep in touch with my family, keep in touch with my friends the best I can, because that's one of the things that you miss while you're on the road. You miss your friends, you miss family. But set aside one day of the week, maybe one day in the weekend, and just make a call back home, talk to your friends, talk to your siblings. I mean, if you have them, talk to your parents. I think that helps a lot as well. So these are the top 10 questions that ChatGPT was able to provide for me, and I think these are really good questions that a lot of people have when they're trying to begin the nomadic lifestyle. And I hope that these questions have helped in one way or the other. And if it has, consider subscribing. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. My name is Daniel, and I will see you in the next video.